I'm about to do it, Danny. I'm about to watch Star Wars. It's gonna be good. Well, here we are, Danny. We're about to watch Star Wars. We're going in. Amazing.
Hey, welcome to the Dan and Mitch Show. He's Dan,
And here's Mitch.
and today we're on...
Star Wars The Force Awakens spoiler review.
Oh yeah!
Because you've seen it.
I have.
And?
And it was good.
What?
There was a lot of things that you mentioned about Star Wars that
Yeah.
I didn't understand when we were talking about it a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And now I get it.
Yeah.
I understand everything. Young Keira Knightley, I know the dude, the Stormtrooper guy, Poe,
Daisy Ridley, John Boyega.
Poe Dameron.
Poe Dameron.
Poe, good old Poe. Great characters, very charming.
Very charming characters. Weren't
So
they?
charming.
Like, everyone had so much personality.
Yeah.
Their personality was dialed up to 11.
It was.
Yeah. The numbers all go to 11. Look, right across the board. 11,
Oh, I see.
11,
And most of
11,
the
and then...
amps go up to 10.
Exactly.
Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it?
I didn't think I'd like the characters that much. I liked the main characters, the new characters. I loved them. I wanted to hear more
Finn
about
and
their
Rey?
stories. Finn and Rey, yeah. There was believability, charisma,
Yep.
and chemistry.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. So I really enjoyed the costumes.
Yep.
Having not been a Star Wars person, I didn't really realize what this was, or who this was.
Yeah.
And all of the what are they called? The AT-ATs and
The X-Wings and the
the
TIE
X-Wings and everything.
fighters.
Yeah. I thought, hey, they're pretty cool. I'm sure they're not built. They're not built to today's current standards, let alone the future standards that will, that will govern space travel.
Well, this...
But I like the aesthetic. It's very retro.
Well, the other thing is, it's all made. Like, all the sets
Yeah.
where you see all the X-Wings or all the TIE fighters, they're all there. Everyone who's talking about the set
they're not
sets,
CG anymore.
They're not CG. I mean,
Fantastic.
they're CG when they're fighting and
Yeah,
stuff.
feel the difference, I think.
You could almost touch the world they were living in, touch the costumes.
You could smell it. You could scratch it and you could smell the world. Okay.
I left the movie theatre feeling giddy and gleeful and happy.
Yeah.
Did you feel a little bit, or because you didn't have that history with it?
I
it
didn't feel
pull you
giddy.
back?
I kind of it washed over me rather quickly.
Yeah.
Because Star Wars wasn't in my life as a young tyke.
Yeah.
So it didn't really affect me in the ways that it would have you and
Yeah.
other people. And I realized I'm not really in their target demographic.
I'd argue that. I'd completely argue that.
Yeah.
They're intending to create with this trilogy,
Yeah.
capture new fans, tell
So
a new
I am
story.
one of the new fans amongst all the 16-year-olds and the 19-year-olds that haven't seen it.
You mean more like the 7-year-olds and 8-year-olds?
Or the 7-year-olds
who
and
haven't
8-year-olds,
seen it.
yeah. That
This
too.
film was-
It was the core, wasn't it?
It was the core, so it's like,
Mm.
let's establish let's re-establish the music, let's re-establish the characters, let's re-establish the world. So everything was a lot more muted,
Yep.
so that in future films you can start adding more colour and flavour and flair to it.
Yep.
Much like the original trilogy, the first Star Wars, and it was still a lot smaller of a palette.
Yeah.
Whereas you go to the subsequent Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi,
Mm-hmm.
and those films get bigger and brighter and more extravagant.
Yeah.
So this film
So there's a
kinda
lot to
replicated that
expect in the
model.
second and third films.
Yes.
Interesting.
So Star Wars it's a fantasy story.
Yeah, yeah.
It's always all the good Star Wars films are just a really, really simple story of a character goes on to do great things. This
Yeah.
normal, everyday, plain character goes on to be amazing and be fantastic. And
Yeah.
it's a very kind of fantasy Lord of the Rings kind of story. Just instead of it being knights and wizards, it's Jedis and fighter pilots.
Yeah. So that concludes what I liked. So let's get to what I didn't like, Danny.
Okay.
Okay. My number one gripe about this film, I'm going to give you a hint, Danny. It rhymes with Garrison. No, hang on, what rhymes with Ford?
Dord, sword,
Yeah,
Lord.
I'll go with that.
Maud,
So, Danny,
cord.
it rhymes with Garrison and ends with sword. It's Harrison Ford, everyone. Okay, I didn't like Harrison Ford in this movie.
At all.
At all.
Wow.
I felt the movie could have really benefited from him not being in it. I know, I said it here first, folks. I kind of found his character kind of hard to swallow.
Yeah. What? Any specific
okay.
reason or
particularly that scene
examples?
where he's on the ship and then
Yep.
he gets boarded by those pirates.
Yep.
And he's painted to be like this double crossing, swashbuckling kind of space ninja, and then when you see him talking his way out of the situation and then running, I don't know. I didn't feel like I believed it. It didn't come off that. It didn't come off strong enough for me.
Sure. See, him as a swashbuckling pirate is, I think...
I understand that was his character in the 70s.
I think that wasn't necessarily important.
And it worked then,
The importance of his character in this film, which is the one thing I didn't like, is his relationship with Kylo Ren. That was never... I felt like that was never established. That was never touched upon.
Yeah.
The only
I do agree,
scene where Kylo and Han Solo meet is the scene where Kylo strikes down Han Solo. Or stabs him. Sorry, Han.
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler.
Well, this is a spoiler review,
Oh,
so if you got spoiled, it's your own damn fault.
Kylo Ren and Han Solo never had previous scenes together.
Yeah.
There was no relationship between those characters.
Well, none that we
Driver
saw.
And Harrison Ford. On screen, there was no
Yeah.
on-screen chemistry or relationship or dialogue.
And I kind of felt like all of the time just went into Han Solo.
Yeah. No.
And I really would have liked that time spent on really fleshing out the main characters, the characters that we're really going to give a shit about in the second and third one.
That said, you didn't even see Han Solo for about 40 minutes into the film.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know, there was just something
And
about
the
him
whole
that
last act,
it
he
was
was-
just so focused on Han Solo.
Yeah. Did you like Kylo Ren?
I did like him.
Excellent.
Although,
Oh, no.
personally, I felt as soon as he took his helmet off, he was humanized too quickly. I feel as though as soon as I saw Adam Driver's face, I was like, oh yeah, that's cool, that's Adam Driver.
I like that guy.
I'm not scared of him anymore. I personally would have, like, throughout the whole movie where he's force choking people and doing all this stuff, I was scared of him. I was really afraid. I thought, wow, he's a scary villain, and he loses his shit so quickly. Like he's always got the. Hang on, I need my lightsaber. Terry. Like smashing things.
Temper tantrum.
I love that because, like, I mean, I don't really know anything about Darth Vader, but I know he wouldn't have like smashed his consoles or anything like that.
I want to talk about one of my big grievances with the film. Star Wars has always been coincidental. Everything's kind of coincidentally fallen into place and the story's kind of stumbled forward to a satisfying resolution.
Coincidentally bad.
This film felt like I was being hit over the head with a giant coincidence mallet. Han Solo found Finn and Rey without explanation.
It was very tidy, wasn't it?
The part where BB-8 is BB-8 not the cutest
The soccer
little
ball
character ever?
Oh, he's great. Yeah.
When
Love to
BB
kick him around.
when and you know R2D2.
Yeah.
Yep. When R2D2 suddenly woke up.
The bin.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stop it. When R2D2 finally woken up and had
Yep.
the rest of the plan.
Yeah.
Where it was like a few hours.
That was
late.
convenient, wasn't it? He's like, oh, it's near the end
And that
of
was
the film.
meant to be.
I'm gonna
That
show
was
a
meant
vision.
to have been after BB-8 came up and tried to talk to R2D2 the previous scene.
Okay.
But even if it's something like the light starts to flicker on
Yeah.
after that, and then you cut back and R2D2 woke up since BB-8 came and talked to him.
Yeah.
A simple piece of dialogue to explain it, to put it in context and move on. Or Maz Kanata scene. You know how Maz Kanata, the little orange alien, happened to have a lightsaber, Luke's lightsaber.
Yeah.
Perhaps that could have
What
been
was she doing with that?
I know it's all just so in a bow, but I really felt like a little bit more explanation of each of those points, and there's a few others in the film, could have just made it seem a
I feel
little
the
less
fan service
coincidental.
kind of pushed it in a direction that it wouldn't have been otherwise. Like,
Sure, but at the,
and as a standalone film, it was pretty good, but it was just that fan service.
yeah, that held it back from being
It,
great.
it did.
Absolutely.
Indeed. Daisy Ridley as well. You were saying that she was a bit too perfect, and I do agree with you.
Yep.
She was a fantastic, like a fight, like a lightsaberist, a hand-to-hand combatist,
Yep.
a
Mechanic?
a mechanic,
A pilot?
a hacker,
A pilot?
an all-round nice gal.
Yeah.
And she didn't have any flaws at all.
No.
And I know that she's going to have lots of flaws in the second one. She'll probably have someone close die to her, die around.
She'll probably
her,
lose a
but
hand.
Probably lose a hand.
I get why they did it. They
Yeah.
did it to kind of
I understand
to
as well.
subvert expectations, because I think,
Yeah.
especially going in, did you always feel like perhaps Finn was the protagonist?
I did. I did think I thought he
Right.
was, and then
How
I
good
realized
was that?
it wasn't really Finn wasn't the protagonist. I thought it was funny in that scene where they're in the heat of a battle and everything, and they're like, "Oh, but I don't have a weapon, but you have the saber." And I thought, "Yeah, but give him a gun."
Also, the fact that Captain Phasma, who was the Chrome stormtrooper.
Oh, yeah.
The female
I want
stormtrooper.
to hear more from her.
I thought she was great in the 2 scenes she was in.
Yeah.
She should have been the right control trooper.
Yeah.
She should have been that controller saying, "I trained you, and you turned on me, you traitor." There's this big scene between Finn and Captain Phasma.
Yeah.
I would like her to have been just a lot more prevalent in the film, a lot more on top of chasing down Finn.
Maybe the main critique here is there was too many characters. You say, so how did you feel about Star Wars? And I go, well, Daddy, I'm going to tell you how I feel about Star Wars. I'm being Mickey Mouse because it's Disney.
Can't you just tell me what you thought about Star Wars?
Well, I could, Daddy. So wrapping up, I feel like Star Wars was a fantastic movie.
Bogged down by nostalgia.
Bogged down by nostalgia. And as a person coming into the series for the first time, I kind of felt like Star Trek was better.
No, you didn't.
I did. I honestly did.
So even though obviously I still have a lot of criticisms about the film, there's a lot of, I think, problems with the actual film itself. I don't think any of these problems, any of these issues that I have...
They're not deal breakers.
No, well, for me, it didn't affect me walking out of the theatre.
Yeah.
All 3 times I've seen it, feeling like a giddy child.
Yeah. See, I still feel like not a lot of it was all that memorable.
Yep.
I think walking out of the cinema, nothing really stuck or stayed with me like it did Star Wars. Like Star Trek. When Star Wars ended for me, I thought, oh, that was a really good film. If I was a fan, I would have loved it. But I kind of just went about my day and got ice cream.
So how many Denny's would you give it?
I'm going to give it 3.5 Denny's.
Excellent. And I'll still give it 4.5 Denny's.
Excellent.
Force be with you. Like and subscribe to the channel.
Yep.
Let us know what you think of The Force Awakens.
Do it.
Be warned, there's tons of spoiler comments. See you soon.
And subscribe.
That's The Force.
Subscribe.